I was told you were coming.
A slayer.
I'm so stuck, like a cork in a bottle.
My ascension is almost at hand.
I don't like vampires. I'll take a stand and say they're not good.
I feel like a candidate.
It's fucking
I
fantastic.
love that sound.
The ice cream bar's this way.
There it is. I was going to ask you if you were ready, but then we just opened our beer. Let's wing this motherfucker. All right, kids. It's been a slightly longer interval than normal, but welcome back to Beer with Buffy. It's been about a week and a half. I got some... oh, by the way, I'm Josh.
I'm Rex.
And
Sorry, I was taking a drink of my beer.
And welcome back to our show where we watch an episode of Buffy, we break it down, and we make fun of it, and we also tell you the things that we like about it. So, yeah, it's been a week and a half instead of a week between episodes this time because I got some weird, funky summer job teaching video game design to kids like 2 hours away from my hometown. It has its
I
highs
haven't
and...
seen you in a fucking week. It's weird.
Yeah, he's having withdrawal. It's
Dude, you're 90% of my social life.
it's adorable and a little sad.
Fuck you.
Yeah, what's going on with you, man?
Not much.
Long time no see, bruh.
Don't call me bro.
I had to call a student that, because he was acting like a bruh. And it was funny. Anyway, it's very relevant to this episode. Oh my God.
So before we start, and before we get the mom synopsis and all that, I gotta say, when I saw what episode it was, I distinctly remember not liking this episode.
Okay.
But the spoiler is, that completely turned around, and I actually fucking loved this episode.
Yeah, I feel like I thought about that. I think I also have very poor recollections of, insofar as I did not like most of the first season, but I think it's because you're not really engaged yet, and it's like a car that's having trouble starting up in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like the content is there, and this is just kind of forcing me to dig into it a little.
So before we get into it,
what's the name of the episode this week?
The name of the episode, I should say, is The Pack. It's episode 6, season 1.
The Pack.
I think this episode really, the key here is, what the hell's his name?
Please don't tell me you're trying to think of Xander.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Nicholas Brendan. Nicholas Brendan, this episode, I think, really shows off his acting ability the most out of all the fucking...
This was a fantastic Xander episode.
Just
everything we've been bitching
phenomenal.
about, just laid out in the open and actually a little bit made fun of.
And addressed in certain aspects.
Yes. And it actually gives him redeeming qualities. I have nothing bad to say about Xander. I can't even call him nice guy Xander at any point in this episode. I did my main overarching comment about this episode. I said, this episode had me laughing like a hyena.
Okay, so... Do you want to do the mom synopsis?
Oh, for fuck's sake, Rex. Yes, I do. I would love to.
Before we actually get into it.
Yes.
Josh, what's the mom synopsis?
The mom synopsis. Joshua, you're home. I stayed up till 2 a.m. waiting for you to get home. Mom, I really need to watch TV right now, okay? I have this podcast to record with my friend. It's like the most important thing like in the world to me right now. So if you... Okay, Joshua, whatever. Wait, what's the episode about? See, I brought it around. There it is.
Oh,
okay. This episode, Xander and some douchebags turn into hyenas, and an inexplicably overly knowledgeable zookeeper, beats up Giles and has to take away these hyena high schoolers' powers that they stole from this African hyena that got shipped over from Africa, and the plot was actually extraordinarily formulaic and kind of predictable, but still well executed. Willow's in love with Xander, and Buffy's in love with Angel, and Xander may have actually gotten his head out of his ass, and that's about it.
Fucking hope so.
Yeah.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah.
Is this for me? I must be ready. I need my strength. Give me more! Nights I shall walk in the earth. Hold on. You've got something in your eye.
So the episode cold opens in the zoo, where
It does.
we get to meet these 4 kids that we've never seen before.
Well, one of them is strikingly attractive.
Which one?
I don't know, but she definitely was not a high school student. Anyway.
Well, none of them are.
So, yeah, one of these, at least one of this group of kids is, like, clearly not a bully in real life.
Right.
Like, she was so awkward. She was like, how popular were you before you got kicked out of school? Nah. And I was like, you're cute.
Hands down, like, the one redeeming quality to this group of 4 kids is they do the hyena laugh fucking perfectly.
They were well cast.
They were well cast.
They really were.
But before they become hyenas, their ability to, like, be bullies is just kind of forced to me.
Yeah, I thought so too. We're skipping over. So we're at the zoo. These 4 kids walk up to Buffy, who's walking by herself at the moment, and they make fun of her for being by herself at the zoo. And I was like, you guys are also at the zoo.
Yeah.
But then we find out it's a field trip. Willow and Xander show up out of nowhere again. But, it's school. I got one of my quote of the days immediately as soon as Xander showed up.
I think it might be
It's
one.
probably the same one. So Xander says, we just saw the zebras mating. Willow says, it was like the Heimlich with stripes.
I also wrote that down. But I actually wrote one just after that because Willow asks...
Also probably the same one. Go on.
Asks Buffy, where were you? And she says, I was looking at the fishes. And she says, was it cool? And she says, they're fishes.
It was the fishes. Yeah, I think is what she said.
It's fishes.
So it was not the same one that I said. So, yeah, 3 quotes of the day in a row.
Yeah.
We need a sound effect for that.
All right.
Like...
No.
Turkey. Turkey quote of the day. Because we got 3 in a row, man.
Fucking bowler.
So Xander says, Buffy, this isn't about looking at animals. This is about not being in class. And I was like, holy shit, Xander.
Which is that is the entire purpose
That's
of
very
a fucking...
important and poignant.
Yes.
I'm so glad you said that because you're not wrong.
Hey, got your steak. Hey, got your steak.
Right after this, we get to see the bullies actually being bullies to this
Yeah,
kid.
so they find this
And
other weirdo.
I didn't write down this kid's name.
It's not important.
But I have to point out in this whole sequence of them bullying, the leader of this group of kids is like, oh, this looks like a family reunion. Take a picture. And he's like, whoosh, with the fucking fake camera.
Oh, I forgot
sound
about
effect,
that.
and it's really fast and
It was so dumb.
oh god.
And
I had to rewatch it multiple times because I'm like, what the fuck was that?
I didn't even bother. I was like, so poorly written bullies, moving along.
And then the principal shows up.
So he's making monkey jokes. He's like, oh, family reunion.
And then the principal shows up.
Principal Cockblock.
And
His real name is Flutie, by the way.
Yes.
Did you know that before this episode?
No.
Me either.
it's funny that it took this episode for us to learn his fucking name.
I think it might be the first fucking time they said it in a proper context.
I don't know. But I have a couple of questions here. First off, why is the principal on a field trip? Second off, is this the whole school on the field trip?
Right?
If it's just one class, why isn't he back at school doing his fucking job there?
I mean, if I were the principal and I had a choice, I would go to the zoo also.
Well, yeah, obviously. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Look at what kind of school you're the principal of.
And look at the fucking students. Oh, you know what? I just realized Cordelia is not in this episode at all.
Yeah, not at all.
It's like, as soon as she was being bullied, I was like, where's Cordelia? This is normally her job.
Like, I actually didn't think about it one time that Cordelia wasn't in it.
No, it just occurred to me too.
I have a feeling that they probably did that just to, like, accentuate the bulliness.
Uh-huh.
I think they wanted to specifically keep the girl focus of Xander and the pack on Buffy.
Okay.
I think if Cordelia was in the mix, I don't think the story would have worked out nearly the same.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I know. I see where you're going with that, but I think that means it would have detracted from the fact that Xander was part of the pack.
Right.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We still have a lot more to talk about.
So the bullies take this weird kid, whoever the hell his name is, to the hyena exhibit.
Yep.
And
which they apparently just got these hyenas.
Just got the hyenas from Africa.
But they still have a completely fully fleshed out area for them.
Like the exhibit's been built and then they have the hyenas, but it's all
looks like
blocked
they
off.
built it years ago and they finally got some actual hyenas to put in it.
Exactly. So
or they just changed the name.
The Scooby Gang sees the bullies take this kid into the hyena exhibit, and they're like, "Oh, let's go stop him." And Xander, actually being a decent person here, says, "No, Buffy, I'll go in and do something. They're not vampires; they're just kids."
Yeah.
And so he actually goes in to stop them from bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And at this moment, Buffy and Willow are like, oh, no, maybe we should help. And then they get stopped by definitely the bad guy zookeeper.
Who actually somehow manages to keep Buffy and Willow from getting in.
Right? Like, she could throw him 30 feet.
She really could have.
This character showcases I don't know if it's a trope or a trend or a habit that a lot of shows like this have, where they introduce this character and the character divulges information
he has
for no reason
way
whatsoever.
Too much expository information under his belt for no good reason. It always reminds me, and I think I mentioned this a few episodes ago, of Wayne's World, when they're standing and there's Chris Farley outside this building.
Yes!
And he knows all of this information about Mr. Big.
Yes, exactly.
And Wayne looks at the camera and he's like, wow, wasn't it convenient that we were there to get all of that information? That's exactly what this was with the zookeeper.
Very much so.
Yeah. So Xander runs in there and, much to his credit, runs right up to the bullies who those psychopaths are about to throw this kid into the hyena pit.
Yeah.
And he stops
had
them.
the ritual thing not happened, he probably would have gotten his ass kicked, but for like the best reason possible.
Honestly, I think Xander stood a good chance if he was just fighting that one kid. Xander's not a wuss.
No. Actually, that's kind of one of the things I noticed, especially with this episode, is that he's actually like not a small guy either.
No, I wouldn't tussle with him.
Hell no.
And then one of my favorite notes is here. Nice guy Xander. Actually nice.
Yes.
It's like he was not thinking with his dick.
So at this moment, their eyes flash. They get
green or yellow or something.
Yeah, it's yellow.
They see this obviously animatronic a fucking
I was gonna
hyena
say
pop up.
They get possessed by a puppet hyena.
And I was like, and Lion King on Broadway is early.
Like, they couldn't just record 5 goddamn seconds of an actual hyena.
Right. Did we really need to see it?
They couldn't, the people who made this show couldn't have taken one fucking camera to the goddamn zoo and been like, look, there's a hyena, let's record this hyena.
Dude, a fucking wildlife channel. Come on.
Right.
Which they have footage of later in the episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's this small reveal at the end of the scene that Xander is probably also possessed, but they specifically didn't show his eyes flashing like the rest of them.
They did it the last second and then cut to title. That's what they did.
Well, did his eyes flash?
Yeah,
I
because
thought they just showed him
their
smirking.
eyes flash. So the other four's their eyes flash.
Yeah.
And they turn and look at the kid who's running away, and they start laughing, and then you hear Xander turns and looks at the camera, all super fucking dramatic.
Yeah.
And the cinematography in this short bit is actually really fucking good.
It is, actually.
And he turns and looks over his shoulder at the kid as he runs away, and gets this just creepy fucking grin on his face.
Oh, yeah, the snarkiest grin in the world.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's well done.
It's hard for me to say anything cool or witty or at all. I can usually make a few vowel sounds and then I have to go away.
I don't mean to interrupt your downward mobility.
Yeah, you're the Slayer
I
and
just wanted to
we're
tell
like the Slayerettes.
Oh, please.
And then after the opening credits, we're at the Bronze.
The Bronze. Also, I just want to note real quick, I thought it was funny that the bullies called that other kid Spock when they were starting to throw him into the...
I didn't even notice
He said, "Come on, Spock." I was like, I know you're making fun of him, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And any nerd would be like, thank you. That's a compliment.
Exactly. Come on, Leonard Nimoy.
So the girls are at the Bronze wondering where Xander is because he's late.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, he seemed weird on the bus. He was quiet.
Yep. And Buffy's
And they're
like, well, I wouldn't know how Xander's doing because I'm not totally obsessed with him like you are. What? I'm not totally obsessed.
Well, and she's like,
You're
well,
totally
I don't
obsessed with
monitor
Angel.
his, I don't monitor any. She lists all these things and like ends with blood pressure, and Willow like reads off his blood pressure. Holy shit, Willow, that's creepy.
Yeah. How? I assume that they're just bantering, and she doesn't actually know his blood pressure.
I don't know,
but it's definitely questionable. But that's because I don't think Willow's a stalker.
So Xander comes
But if
in,
she is, she can stalk me any day of the week.
super cute. So Xander comes in, and my first thought when he starts interacting with the girls
Yep.
is, wow, he's not that different. Like he
just grabs Buffy's roll.
yeah, and starts eating her food and drinking her drink.
It's like average male. Go on.
It's interesting because there have been so many hints of this exact kind of personality from Xander before this.
Uh-huh.
And now it's just like accentuated that the good guy parts of him are gone.
Yeah.
And now but he's not that different.
I specifically noted, I said, spoiler alert, they're hyenas now. Haven't changed much, though.
No. But
definitely some very brash social
I
commentary.
want to make a note here that when Xander walks up and he's like, "Oh, this place is kind of late," or I forgot we were hanging out here, or something along those lines. And Willow looks at him and goes, "We could go get ice cream."
Yes, I forgot to note that.
Of course, she wants ice cream.
She always wants ice cream. We told you, and she finally said it.
I was watching this episode at work, and my coworker, who's been following along with the podcast, heard the line of her saying that she wants ice cream as he's like walking by, and he just started cracking up.
Like, Scoob, we totally need some ice cream for this party. The bronze is totally dry.
I have a question.
What?
Like, obviously, Xander is Shaggy. But who's Scooby?
Am I always referencing Xander when I do the Shaggy impression?
No, he just fits.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
And I imagine, but like the Shaggy Scooby thing is definitely Xander and Willow in conjunction.
I think I have this theory that Scooby doesn't actually exist. There's no talking dog in Scooby-Doo. Scooby is totally just an imaginary friend of Shaggy that the rest of the gang plays along and pretend that is also there, because he's clearly just their mentally challenged friend that they take on all of their adventures, which is probably actually just them like doing normal things,
Right?
like grocery shopping, and he thinks that they're in a haunted mansion every time. He's very disturbed.
Yes. And this has been our snippet of our Scooby-Doo podcast.
Yeah, so that's my theory. Don't ever ask me questions about the fuck who's the dog again. Fuck you, Rex.
Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
So we end the scene. The other pack members, I guess I'll just call them pack members.
Yeah, sure.
From this point.
Bullies, pack members, same thing.
Yeah, they come in and they walk up to this group's table and they're like, "Why are you sitting at our table?"
Did you get the quote of what they said to the kid?
Yeah, they said to the kid, shouldn't you be floating above a sporting event with Goodyear written on you?
Yeah.
And Xander's looking over his shoulder and chuckles and goes, "'Cause he's fat."
Yeah, he's laughing, and then he just totally goes straight face. He's like, "Kid's fat though."
Yeah.
It was like, it was a douchey moment, but still comedically well timed and well executed by what was it? What's his name? Michael Brendan?
Nicholas
Brendan. Michael Brendan. I'm gonna get so much hate mail.
There's a reason why you're here. The reason what's now. There's a reason why you're here. The reason what's now.
So, cut to the library, and then the scene continues in the school.
Yep.
Giles is training Buffy, which is kind of the first time we really see that kind of thing going on.
And it's fantastic.
He shows his age a bit.
And
you want me to redo that roundhouse? No, I need to get the feeling back in my limbs.
No, he specifically says, "Run along to class while I wait for the feeling to return to my arms."
There it is. Good times. And then...
Yeah, they're talking, and...
Is this where we introduce... Yeah, this is where we find out that the school has a pig as their mascot.
This is the first moment that I realized that their mascot is a razorback.
Okay. Is that actually...
It's a type of boar.
It is a type of boar? Okay. Just checking. The pig was adorable, though.
It was. And we get pig cam as the pig's running through the school before Buffy picks it up.
I missed that.
Cam, and Buffy picks it up and, talks about how cute it is, and the
that
principal
pig fucking loves her.
Oh yeah. And the principal's like, "No, he's a vicious beast. See his tusks and his razorback," because he clearly doesn't know what the fuck a razorback is.
Clearly, like, he made it look like a fucking stegosaurus. Which, you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think that's clever. I kind of started to like him in this episode.
Yes. And I think they did that on purpose.
On purpose, because, spoiler alert, he dies.
He dies. In a horrible manner.
They even whatever. We'll get to that later. So, they introduce the pig. Principal Cockblock / Flutie is they established that the pig is scared of Flutie as well.
Yeah.
So he has Buffy carry it back to its cage, and we cut to Willow and Xander. Willow's helping Xander with math.
Before that, I want to mention that the scene here between Flutie and Buffy is really fucking good, in that, like, Flutie shows that, no, he's actually, like, a good guy, and he cares about his students, and, like, cares about the school and everything.
Yeah.
And understands that he's older and, out of touch.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, then we cut to Willow and Xander.
Wait, but was that the scene? No, that's a later scene where he says, "Of course, when I was your age, I was surrounded by old guys."
They cut between these two scenes, between Willow and Xander and Buffy and the pig.
Yeah.
They do the back and forth scene.
Oh, you're right.
And so they cut to Xander and Willow, and Willow's tutoring Xander on math homework. And there's this small moment that Allison Hannigan pulls off, where she's talking with Xander, and he's getting frustrated, and he's like, oh, I got a headache. And she just kind of reaches up and, like, touches his head. Just this moment of, like, the look on her face, and she touches his head out of, like, pure concern. And it's an amazing, like, physical, like, acting moment for her. And I don't know if you noticed it, but I
didn't. Just
encapsulated her sadness at this situation with what's happening to Xander.
Okay, yeah, that is an entirely other element that was going on that I chose not to concentrate on as much. So I'm glad you covered that end of the spectrum. I did grab a quote of the day from this scene where Willow says, because he's like, "Oh, who cares if I flunk math? What's the point?" And she's like, "Well, you'll flunk out of school and end up being that guy who sweeps the floor at the pizza place and says, 'Hey, kids, where's the cool parties this week?'"
And she specifically says, "We've gone over this." Like, they've had that conversation many times.
Which, speaking of Chris Farley earlier, all I could think of was... You'll have plenty of time to learn math when you're living in a van down by the river, living on government cheese.
There's also this good line from Xander in this, because he's like, "Oh, I have this headache. It's such a terrible headache." And then he chucks the math book into the trash can. He says, "Oh, I feel better now."
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, Xander sure has changed. Look how moody he is.
He's just grouchier. Until this point, he's just grouchier.
It's just that he's found other things to be moody about besides his sex life and being butthurt that Buffy won't bang him.
Till later.
But he chooses to take charge in that situation, and that's a bit more complicated, and we'll get to that later.
Yes. So this sequence of these two scenes ends with Principal Flutie going into an office, and Buffy's holding the pig in the hallway, and Xander comes in from the outside and walks by.
Yep.
Doesn't look at Buffy or anything, just walks by, and the pig freaks out and is terrified of Xander.
Oh yeah. Which it's no big deal that the pig was terrified of Flutie, but when it's scared of Xander, oh shit, something's wrong.
To be fair though, the pig is fucking terrified of Xander.
It really is.
Really
notably more terrified.
The Slayer who has super strength has trouble holding on to the pig.
Yeah, oh man, I get why hog wrestling is a thing.
Yes. And at this moment, I need another beer.
You mean besides me? No, I didn't ask. You mean besides me? Do you believe? I didn't ask. We have to achieve our dreams, otherwise we wither and die. We're going to the other cool place in Sunnydale.
So there's this. I don't know if it was stock footage or not, but we get to see this like horizon and a single lightning bolt. And it's like horribly incongruous to the rest of the
That was the
episode.
Worst transitional footage I've ever seen. It looked like it was in fast motion. Did you see there was like traffic at the bottom that was moving really fast? And I rewinded it to check what the fuck it was, and I could not tell after like three times.
It literally. Shows will do this where they show the exterior shot as a setting where the scene is taking place.
Yeah.
This doesn't do that at all.
Didn't it show some lightning or something?
Yeah, it showed a lightning bolt, but it doesn't even like tell us that it's actually raining. No, the coach immediately says after that it's raining and that they can't do normal gym class.
But see, well,
like, it's not actually raining in this. Like there's no reason for this shot to be there.
There was lightning though, Rex.
Oh god. It wasn't even good lightning.
So they're in gym class all of a sudden, and
all of the kids who are in gym class were the kids that were on the field trip.
Every single one of them happened to be in the same gym class. And
it must have been the gym class that went on the field trip.
Jesus. And the gym teacher is like, it's such a big deal that it's raining outside. Holy shit.
He takes dodgeball way too seriously.
There's one rule, guys. dodge. And then I swear that guy's getting a fucking hard on in the middle of that dodgeball game.
No shit. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, they play dodgeball wrong.
I did not notice, but I assumed.
The setup of dodgeball is you line the balls up on the middle of the court,
Okay.
and everyone stands at the walls and then runs to the center.
Okay.
This, they just start at the center and everyone has a damn ball.
Yeah, clearly there's more rules than dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I was thinking about the whole scene.
Jesus.
And they have fight choreographs in this show.
Yeah.
Why did they not use any of these people to, like, show people actually dodging shit? Like, everyone's just, like, lightly, like, stepping to the side and, like, It's so lame.
We're going to feel silly listening to that section later.
Yep.
Let's do it again real quick.
No.
Stepping to the side. No. What was the sound effect you were making?
Nope.
I'm just going to make mine real quick.
Fuck you.
So dodgeball. Xander ends up taking out Willow brutally.
Yeah, and she's like obviously upset about it. And he's like, well, what the fuck? We're playing dodgeball.
Yeah.
And it comes down to...
But he's got this super serious, like, stone cold motherfucker look on his face.
Oh, yeah. Because he is taking dodgeball just as seriously as the coach.
But it's not really about dodgeball.
Right.
I kind of thought that was one of the main themes of this episode was, you know, we're taking a look at power dynamics and social structure.
Yeah. And so the dodgeball game comes down to Buffy is alone on one side. And obviously she has not been throwing a fucking ball, only dodging, because there's anybody left on the other side.
Yeah.
This made me realize, like, how many times are there moments in gym class where, like, people aren't realizing, wait, Buffy's shockingly good at this. Like, she's super strong and super athletic.
She could have,
what
like, taken somebody's head off with one of those dodgeballs.
Like,
she probably specifically holds back to try and keep up her cover.
but she's still the last one left on her team.
Right?
So she probably holds back to keep her cover, but she's like, no, I'm still going to be the fucking best.
Yeah, she could totally be an athletic superstar if she wanted to.
Oh, yeah. So it gets down to Buffy on her team, and on the other team is the Pack and Xander and the kid that they were picking on at the zoo.
Yeah.
And the Pack...
And they all just converge on that kid.
Like, they realize that Buffy is too strong.
Yes.
And this kid's weak, so they all turn and take out their own team member.
That's a fun main theme of this whole thing, is that hyenas only go for weak animals as predators, and that's exactly what bullies do as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's why it's on purpose that there's no character change in the bullies when they become hyenas or possessed by the hyena spirit.
And it's done really fucking well.
Yeah, it's excellent social commentary. And then so they all just whip their dodgeballs at the kid really hard
and then
just walk away.
Well, we get this moment before they walk away. I've noticed this many times in the episode thus far, and I watched it twice, so by the time I was writing these notes, I had already watched it all the way through once.
Yeah.
But I noticed that there's a lot of moments where it's just Xander and Buffy staring each other down. And Buffy doesn't do it as well as Xander does.
Yeah, this episode is, like I said at the beginning of the episode, this episode is a testament both to the building of his character and just him as an actor.
Oh, yeah. This is an episode that if he was not a good actor, it would have not worked.
No.
Not at all. It's because it's formulaic, but he pulls it off.
Yeah.
And the other bullies, they do really good, but they are obviously second fiddle to Xander.
Oh yeah, we know we're never gonna see any of these fucking kids again in the show unless they're extras or recast or something.
And so the dodgeball scene ends with
they walk away dramatically.
The coach going, "I love this game."
God, I love this game.
This game is brutal.
He needed a fucking stogie for that moment.
He did.
That was fun. I hope we get to see more of the gym teacher.
I do too.
I don't remember if we do or not.
I don't either.
But I hope so.
I liked him.
Yeah, he was fun. Like, terrible teacher. He should have been like, guys, that was fucked up.
And
but he didn't.
And this is when we get to first really hear the hyena laugh as they walk off. And they do it so fucking well.
Did they laugh at the end of the dodgeball scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, got your steak, steak. Hey, got your steak, 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 steak.
Yeah, so at this point, Xander's gone full hyena. You never go full hyena!
Willow is worried about Xander, so she's outside the classroom, and she's like, Willow, are you okay? Or Xander, are you okay?
Yeah.
And she, like, right here, she is playing hurt perfectly.
Oh my god, right in the feels.
Yeah.
My feels
like,
were demolished.
And Xander is a total fucking prick.
Douche.
Oh my god.
What sound does it make when a salt truck hits a water truck? Douche. That's exactly what happens
and
at this precise moment.
What he says to her isn't really all that bad.
It's just the way he says it.
The way he says it is not only demeaning, but horribly dismissive of her.
Yeah.
And
like,
the fact that
I
she's
know we've been friends like our whole lives and everything, but I feel like there's something I need to tell you. I'm feeling different about you. I'm dropping geometry class, and I'm not going to need your help anymore.
So I don't have to look at your
Pasty face. And just the look on Willow's face is just, please give that woman an Oscar.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. Both Allison Hannigan and Nicholas Brendan in this episode are fucking on point with their acting.
Absolutely.
Like, if you had any doubts whatsoever of their casting up to this point, this episode right here fucking nails it.
Yeah, definitely.
And but this scene ends with Buffy saying, "Do you want to say something to me?"
Oh,
and
yeah.
just stares Xander down.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, fuck that. I can't take her." And then they walk off.
Yeah. He respects her because he actually knows how strong she is. And hyenas don't fuck with strong people.
Nope.
So it really worked out on that level.
Then they go out, the pack goes out into the courtyard and starts harassing people for food because they're hungry.
Xander just stops dead in his tracks and he goes, dogs.
Yeah, and like I was expecting dogs, not hot dogs.
Exactly. Hot dogs.
And also the table he walks up to is the two guys who have been sitting there, look like they've been sitting there a while, haven't touched their food at all.
Haven't even touched it. They're in the middle of what appears to be a pretty decent conversation.
Yeah, debate about a band that I have no idea who the fuck the band is.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But so they pick the hot dog out of his bun, and they all eat half a hot dog and go, too well done. Grr. And stomp away.
Like you could have a hot dog that isn't cooked at all.
And then we have just...
it's impossible to, like, get a raw hot dog.
It kind of is, yeah. It's like, why did that set off your senses tingling so hard, Xander? It's not raw fucking meat. It's like the most processed meat
they
you
go
can find.
They go prowling.
Yeah.
And they're sniffing.
It's just like a solid 5 minutes of this slow motion badass. Look how attractive these children are.
Kind of, yeah. And so they end up at the pig's room.
Well, no. The kids end up in the pig's room.
And they eat the pig.
Yeah, I specifically, my note was, oh no, piggy, not the piggy. Never mind how many pigs I've probably eaten today alone.
Right.
But
At
that pig
5.
was adorable.
At least 5.
Just part of them, not a whole pig.
So after they eat the pig, they're walking back through the like courtyard.
Yeah. So then Xander stops and he I think they're trying to like establish that he's got super good hearing.
Yeah.
But then that just like they never come back to that. So
Yeah.
who fucking cares? This is totally a Monster of the Week episode anyway.
So we get this moment between Buffy and Willow that actually really fucking angers me. Because
Go on.
Willow's upset that Xander has obviously been being an ass.
Yeah.
Like, she kind of makes it Buffy's fault.
She does.
And, like, at first, in
She
the
was
beginning
emotional.
of the she was
We
emotional.
say things we
yeah.
don't mean when
She's
we're emotional.
But she's like, maybe it's not Xander, maybe it's me. No, wait, maybe it's you, Buffy.
Yeah, it's kind of what that boiled down to.
And
Buffy's like, oh, hell no. That boy got something wrong with him.
yeah. And then that transitions into
It's like, that doesn't explain why he's hanging out with, what did she call them? The Dode Patrol?
the Toad Patrol.
Is she calling them dodos?
I don't know.
What the fuck did she mean by that?
I don't know. It's the only time that term is used at all. And since, I imagine.
I had to rewatch that like 3 times. And I finally was like, fine, they're the Dode Patrol.
Apparently.
Alrighty then.
It's hard for me to say anything cool or witty or at all. I can usually make a few vowel sounds and then I have to go away.
I don't mean to interrupt your downward mobility.
Yeah, you're the Slayer
I
and
just wanted to
we're
tell
like the Slayerettes.
Oh, please.
We transition into the library.
Or,
Where,
as I like to call it, the part of the show where they figure it out.
Yep, the Exposition Library. Welcome to Exposition Library. And we have another episode of the same trend of Buffy is right and Giles is an idiot.
He's not an idiot, but she doesn't really present compelling evidence at first.
And then
She's trying to explain to him that Xander's clearly acting very out of character.
Yeah.
And it brings me to one of my quotes of the day.
Hold on. I actually fucking went online and found the script of this goddamn show to write this down exactly verbatim.
Oh, fuck you. Fine. Go.
Giles says to Buffy, Xander is teasing the less fortunate. There's noticeable change in clothing and demeanor. All his spare time is lounging around with imbeciles. And she goes, it's bad, isn't it? Says, it's devastating. He's turned into a 16-year-old boy. You'll have to kill him.
Wait. You had to look that up and you still got it wrong somehow? Because I just wrote it down by ear, and he says, of course you'll have to kill him.
No, I guess in the script that the script didn't say of course.
Well, those douchebags. So
immediately afterwards, to Giles' credit, she goes, are you serious? And he says, yes, I'm serious. Not about killing him, but I'm serious.
Yeah, and that was perfect.
And Buffy says, well, do something. Look at your books. Or research in your books. Look stuff up. And he's reluctant up until
Willow
comes in, and she's like, they ate the pig.
And Giles reluctantly says, oh
dear.
Oh dear.
And walks away, and Buffy's like, what are you doing? He says, I'm gonna research things.
Look
stuff up.
That was an excellent moment.
They look stuff up, they research things, and they come across some sort of like demonic possession.
Yeah.
And that's their theory. And
like,
then
he looks at like one book and he's like, oh, I should have remembered that there's these people who used to worship animals and they do demonic possession rituals. That must have been what happened to Xander.
But here's the moment where Buffy goes, oh wait, it might be the hyenas. And here's the thing, though. She'd have never thought of that had the fucking zookeeper not given her weirdly out-of-place information.
Yep. I wrote this down. She was like, they prey on the weak. Where have I heard that? And I was instantly like, oh, gee, the zookeeper. Gee, how convenient that they were there to get all of that expository information.
Exactly. So then Giles is like, oh, this is something I've heard of before.
Yeah.
And Buffy decides that she's going to go investigate. And We enter another crime scene that she should not have access to, that should be, like, barred off.
What, the pig?
Yes! Nobody's around! It's a crime scene!
Wait, but first they cut to the courtyard with Flutie, and he's yelling at the kids because he knows that they did something to the pig.
Right.
He doesn't know they ate it, but he knows that they were sick fucks.
Yeah. The pig is dead. They found bones.
Yes.
They know the pig is dead.
Exactly, because there were witnesses, so he's totally justified in calling them out on it. My question is, why the fuck didn't he call the police?
No shit.
Jesus.
And this goes along with the crime scene
My
thing.
first mantra in this situation would have been like, I don't get paid enough for this shit.
No shit.
Oh my fucking God.
Like, this should not be a trend in this school.
Seriously.
Dead things, you call the police.
You call the fucking police. Maybe we're just too white.
They're in California.
They're also extremely white. Why isn't that the first thing they do?
Like, what the fuck is wrong with this principal? He kind of deserves to not have his job. He doesn't deserve to be eaten.
Bit of a hero complex.
Little bit of a hero complex.
I mean, he may not deserve to be eaten, but I don't have a way to finish that sentence.
We do a nice another back and forth sequence of.
So we come back to the library, and Willow says, "I thought this was funny." She's like, "So Xander's possessed by a hyena? Why couldn't he have been possessed by something cute like a puppy or some ducks?" And I was like, "Whoa." Ducks are total rapists.
No.
You don't want him to be possessed by a duck, sweetheart.
I once read a paper that specifically studied ducks and raping necrophilia.
Ugh. Good.
This is a thing that ducks do. They rape dead ducks.
Good God.
I don't know how I came across this paper, but it was fucking wrong.
Hey man, I'm not even gonna go with that thought.
No,
so moving along.
Fucking stop.
Yeah, so thanks Willow. It was a nice sentiment. They sure are cute when they're small and fuzzy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Rapists.
There's a reason why you're here. The reason why it's now. There's a reason why you're here. The reason why it's now.
So expository stuff, blah blah blah, primals, blah blah blah, animal possession, only predatory animals. Well, fucking duh. So Giles hands Buffy the book because she's like, so what happens if we don't get this fixed immediately? He hands her the book, and she slams it without even hardly looking at it.
She glances at it briefly.
Very, like, 0.6 seconds.
And then she just bolts out
runs away. Okay, it made me feel better later when we see that it was just a picture.
Yeah. And it's a picture of dismemberment.
She's not a speed reader. She didn't read a whole fucking paragraph.
Yeah.
In 0.6 seconds. So, and she runs off to inspect the pig cage.
Which is not guarded. There are no police.
At all. No police. Granted, I mean,
we get a back and
we
forth.
Eat pigs every day. What would the police have done?
We get a back and forth about between her interaction with Xander in the pig room.
Yep.
And the principal and the bullies.
Uh-huh.
And the principal, I don't know about you, but I was feeling anxious for him.
Oh,
like,
well before he was.
Oh, like, yeah, like he kept his cool far longer than I would have been
absolutely
capable of.
No, and I think that was very intentional. Like, it just kind of shows how kind of clueless people can be when they think they're in control and they've had authority
and that is,
over submissive people for so long.
That is portrayed fucking perfectly.
And he doesn't even understand that, wait, I'm alone and I'm outnumbered in a secluded area.
He starts feeling anxious, and you can tell just the look on his face. He does not quite realize why he is anxious and why these kids are not listening to him. Yeah. And he doesn't start panicking till one of them scratches his face.
And he's like, what the shit is wrong with you guys?
Yeah. And then one of the kids
what are you
fucking
doing?
tackles him. And they all dogpile him, or I guess in this case, a hyena pile.
Yeah.
So the scene with Buffy and Xander here is rapey.
A bit.
Not even just a bit. Very.
It's like literally...
Like, Xander through this whole fucking fight is just spouting the fucking men's right activist bullshit.
Pretty
Like,
much
word
to the
for-
T.
Word for fucking
This
word.
show is way ahead of itself.
Way ahead of its time.
I thought it was a great reveal with the mysterious figure in the background, and then it's Xander. And it was so weird that the tension didn't dissipate once we knew that it was Xander.
No.
It actually escalated from there.
And the other thing
And I
that
was like, oh, there's nice guy Xander.
right?
But it's not
Like,
really Xander.
he's not possessed by a hyena. He's just nice guy Xander.
He's just finally accepted it.
Yes.
No, but he's possessed by a hyena.
So we don't actually get to see the conclusion of the fight between Xander and Buffy, and I like that.
Okay.
The next bit we get is Willow is in the library watching hyena footage of them like eating animals.
Yeah, that was a perfect cut too, because it's right after the.
And she keeps watching it the rest of the episode.
Does she?
Yes.
I didn't even notice.
The whole time Xander is in the fucking cage.
But it was a beautiful transition from the bullies, the pack converging on the principal, and like the way they zoomed in on his photo.
Absolutely brilliant.
I was like, well, that's obviously the last time we're going to see him.
Yep.
That was unexpected.
And so Buffy is dragging Xander into the library, and Willow's like, what happened? And Buffy goes, I hit him. With what? A desk.
You mean besides me? No, I didn't ask. You mean besides me? Do you believe? I didn't ask. We have to achieve our dreams, otherwise we wither and die. We're going to the other cool place in Sunnydale.
Buffy and Giles decide they're going to go talk to the zookeeper, who was way too knowledgeable.
And way too easy to get a hold of after hours.
Oh, yeah.
God damn.
And there's a moment where Buffy's like, well, who's going to stay with Xander? And Willow's like, I will do it.
I'll stay with him. So Buffy and Giles find the zookeeper very quickly.
Very quickly.
And he's like, are you sure the kids are possessed?
Oh.
Well, gee, golly gosh.
Okay. How does Giles?
Yes.
Giles, you're a watcher. You're a very intelligent man. You're
sometimes.
How did you not realize that this dude was a bad guy? So Willow is in the library, still watching the hyena footage.
Was she?
Yes. The whole fucking time.
Oh my God! Doesn't she have anything else to do?
If I don't know, if it were me and my friend was possessed by a hyena, I don't think I would be watching the footage of hyenas tearing apart prey. This interaction between Willow and Xander.
Oh, that.
And Xander's trying to talk to Willow in a manner that, trying to get her help and get her close.
Immediately playing cheap mind games with her.
Oh yeah.
Immediately. Like, she's in danger, absolutely.
Oh,
if he had
definitely.
grabbed her through that.
But she's aware that she is in danger.
Yeah. So Willow can handle herself.
And this is one of the first moments where we get to see that.
Yeah.
And that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the pack is in the windows of the library, and they're speaking Willow's name, and she thinks it's Xander and realizes that it's them.
Xander.
And then somehow these fucking hyena kids jump through a window that is up by the ceiling of the wall.
It's at least 10 feet high.
At least.
And they come in feet first.
No shit. That is impressive.
Absolutely. Exactly the word I was about to choose.
Willow, to her credit, immediately stands up and bolts. She does well. She bolts.
Instead, she hides under a desk.
They hunt her.
To be fair, they could smell her. But now she's stuck in the room with him with the door closed.
Yeah.
But she thinks he's gone.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really nicely done scene.
And
because she thinks he's gone and she stands up and she's like,
only-
oh, fuck.
The only criticism I have of this scene is the growl sound effect that Xander has when he jumps over the desk at her is just fucking terrible.
So they did a terrible growl. And so Buffy and Giles show up.
Yep.
Because they're like, oh no, Willow's alone. We have to save her. She gonna die.
And then we get introduced to a pleasant little family.
Oh my shit. This woman and that vest. It's such an unnecessary little scene.
The hyenas show up and they're calling the kid's name, and then they start pounding on the windows. They bust in.
Bleh.
Buffy magically finds them.
She, like, just pops in and lands on top of the car like she's Superman.
And my problem here is that up until this point, it has been drilled into our heads that they hunt weak things.
Yeah.
And then Buffy's like, I know what you want, to Xander, and then they start hunting her.
And she runs, and
it
they
doesn't
all
make sense.
And they all just run and follow hook, line, and sinker. You're right.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lick of sense.
It doesn't.
Huh.
And so they follow her to the zoo.
Willow rushes in.
Willow realizes
she's
that the
she's
pack
so
is
adorably naive.
Oh, Willow! Why are you letting him tie you up and hold a knife to your throat?
Giles trusted him only a minute ago. Why shouldn't she?
The zookeeper manages to pull the hyena spirits out of the pack.
Yep.
And then Buffy fights him in a terrible, shitty fight scene.
It was very anticlimactic.
I made a special note here because the moment that the zookeeper is possessed by the hyena, he drops the knife, grabs Willow's head, and starts to, like, bite her. And it's like, dude, your mouth isn't big enough.
He, like, goes for her temple.
Like, the side of her head.
Like he's trying to eat an ice cream cone.
Right. And it's like, what the fuck, you moron?
Like, Scoob, our mouths totally aren't big enough for these sandwiches. What are we going to do?
So the end of the whole episode is Xander, Willow, and Buffy talking about the incidents.
Yeah.
And Xander is like,
it's a pretty generic wrap up.
Yeah. Xander's like, I don't remember, and like finding out what he did. And we end Giles going, Xander, in all my reading about possessions, memory loss never played into it.
Yeah.
Is this for me? I must be ready. I need my strength. Give me more! Night, I shall walk the earth. Hold on. You've got something in your eye.
So, my ending question of this entire episode...
Go on.
What the fuck happens to the rest of those kids? They remember eating the principal.
Oh, God!
I don't have a question as to why we don't see them anymore. I just want to know, how long are they in a mental care facility?
The answer is yes. That is how long they are in a mental facility.
Yes.
Indefinitely. Oh my shit.
Like, we don't, from the moment that they are no longer possessed, we don't hear a word from them.
Yeah.
We don't see them again.
Yeah.
They immediately, the moment they aren't possessed, they run off.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they run 15 feet out the door and then vomit.
I mean, it's been a solid, like, 12 hours, though.
But still.
Like, it only takes 24 hours before you're pooping out what you ate.
Like, they at that moment they have two choices: either, oh God, what have we done? We need to be in mental care facility, or they're like, well, I guess we're all cannibals now. We might as well just put all our chips in that basket.
Hey, you know what? They established in previous episodes that sometimes the mind just blocks out what it can't explain, and it finds shitty explanations for what it thinks it can explain.
I guess. But...
So, and I mean, people taste enough like pork, apparently, from what I hear. I wouldn't know. I'm asking for a friend. Okay, I'm a cannibal.
That's why they went for the pig.
Rex only has one leg, guys. He's enabling me.
I don't. I have 2 legs.
I watch too much Walking Dead. What can I say?
So, Josh, what's your quote of the day?
My quote of the day. Holy shit. I have to go with Giles's line. It's devastating. He's turned into a 16-year-old boy. Of course, you'll have to kill him.
That is quite good. Mine is another Giles, just because, and it's not even about it being the best line. It's just his realization that maybe he needs to pull his head out of his ass a bit, because he's like, look at books, look stuff up.
Yeah, that was a fun little moment. Well, Rex, I think this has been another episode of what's called
Beers with Buffy.
Beer with Buffy. There's no S on the end of beers. Beers.
I don't think we've really decided.
Hey guys, you want to drink some beers? You want to get some beers and drink them?
I drink beers. I drank 3 beers.
So I'm Josh.
I'm Rex.
Been a great show, guys. See you next week.
Have a good night.
You are the Slayer. Lives depend upon you. I make allowances for your years, but I expect a certain amount of responsibility, and instead of which you enslave yourself to this cult.
You don't like the color?
You have a sacred birthright. You were chosen to destroy vampires, not to wave pom-poms at people.
Why can't you people just leave me alone?
You are the Slayer.
Go ahead. Prepare me.
I'm a watcher. I haven't the skill.
Oh, come on.
By appealing to your common sense. Werewolves, incubi, succubi, everything you've ever dreaded was under your bed, but told yourself couldn't be by the light of day. One girl in all the world. Common sense. One girl in all the world. Was a bit, British, wasn't it?
Whee!
Wait, what have we done? Why are we watching this?